Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you how we use art study or the study of art in particular topics to get better at certain art skills. So this is the heavy metal big art quest, heavy metal, but we're going to work on metal and reflective surfaces. I'm focusing on warm and gold metals today. I'm going to show you how we study objects in art. We're going to go through a series of like images that I've selected. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to be in and out. This is going to be a bit longer than usual. He's going to be in and out, changing out the images as I go through each one in the study. You can paint along with me. I'll tell you what colors I'm using or trying. I'll tell you why I'm using and trying them. I will let you know what tools they are. I'll make a master list of that when we're done, and we'll timestamp this whole video so you can find an area again. Why would you do this?
Why
Right?
would you do this?
Why would you do this? Because, I mean, I can teach you how to do a painting, right? I can teach you how to be like, hey, just do this painting. You'll love it. It'll be great, right? Usually this doesn't show up there. Gotta trim me down. Usually I can show you how just to do a painting. But one of the things I want you guys to, if you paint with me, to do is learn how to paint, right? That's a big and important thing, is how do you paint? And how do you learn to do something that's hard? All the time in group, I have a Facebook group, and all the time I hear you guys talking about, well, I was trying to paint this, but this thing got hard, or I'm not good at painting such and such. And art study is how you correct that. All artists do it. It is always good. I often do it digitally, just because it doesn't really matter how you study it. You're going to hear lots of noise today because, again, it's a family day. It's shortcake and
it's shortcake
are
and
together. So there will be dog talking. I hope that's all right. And basically, we're going to go over this. I would love you to challenge yourself. Now, in your own studio, I want you to grab the yellows that you have, the browns that you have, the reds that you have, and at least black. That way you can experiment with what's in your paint box as I'm experimenting with what's in my paint box to see how you can make metal with the tools that you have available to you. I am working on my Artist Loft 9x12 canvases, mostly because I don't know if you know you can do this. You can go online and buy things in bulk. And I go to Michael's and I go online and I buy canvases in bulk to get a discount. And also, I don't like it. You know how you guys are like, there are no 8x8 canvases. Yeah, in the store. But there's a lot of them online. So I always like to go there and just buy things in bulk, and then I don't have to worry about that if that's a possible thing for you. Oh, also, there's news. If anybody wants some news, there's
I
some
would
news.
like news. What news?
Okay. In response to such a need in my community, because I've done what, over 1,000 shows, and sometimes it's hard to find things that I talk about, I have finally broken down and made an Amazon store. And that link is in the description. And if you go there, it has everything. I have so many lists. I have acrylic April list, watercolor list, the patron drawing class list, my base acrylic color list for professional colors, my budget list, canvas list, anything you want, including weird studio essential stuff like I mentioned, like unusual things that I mentioned once, like a mall stick or a crash solids cart. I have a full brush spa set of lists. So you can go there and hopefully the goal would be it makes things easier. Here's your job. You would think I would be saying it's your job to go buy things. It's actually not. If you see that I'm missing something that I should have in the lists, let me know and I will fix it. If a list, because these are other sellers, if a list goes to someplace it shouldn't, let me know. Because I'll be in there curating it because I want it to make it easier for you guys, not more aggravating. So just let me know if there's ever a problem with the list.
The cool thing about the list is that even if you don't shop on Amazon, you can go there and find the list of things that you might need to go elsewhere.
Because, sometimes the cost of things go up. I saw a Simply Simmons brush for like $17. So, I'm like, that should be $3.
So, if you are an Amazon shopper, because they're like I am, like I need that electronic gizmo tomorrow. So I get it. And
yeah,
because we can't afford to not have a gizmo working
tomorrow.
So
exactly.
It's a good place. But if like you're at a place where I don't need that gizmo tomorrow, I can get my crayons can come in a couple days.
Low tech artist tape. It's in the lists over there.
You can cross shop and
you
maybe
find
other places.
Yeah, and I don't mind that at all, going there and then going and saying, hey, can I find something just like this on sale or what? It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't upset me. I didn't have a list before because we had a relationship with Silver Brush. But as that imploded completely, it's so weird because I still have some silver brushes there, even though I'm super bitter. And the reason I do is because they're still good brushes. Um,
Just
but
wouldn't
we
do
didn't have a
business.
store with silver. That was contractually a part of our agreement.
I'm not exactly sure how all that got in there. That was, but
What
yeah,
got in there?
it was. Well, it's complicated, but times have moved on.
What I said got in
No,
there?
no, everything is just fine.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking more about how the things have changed with our relationship.
Well, things do change in our relationships. Things develop, things change. I'm going to put out titanium white and Mars black, and I'm going to just sort of paint everything. Probably Payne's gray. So I'll put out titanium white, Mars black, and a little ultramarine blue, and just paint everything Payne's gray, which is a cool gray, and that will help the bright metals show well against that background. And I'm going to need gray anyways, like a lot of it, to deepen the gold colors and everything. I cannot see chat, so if you're
Oh,
asking questions, John's going to read those until he's got to go.
I'm gonna pop up. I just forgot to put it over here because I was doing
Ugh,
all the adjusty
yeah.
adjusties.
I got to see my palette when I'm painting, so I guess you
Yep,
can
I got it
cover
right here.
the
Yeah.
tray over here.
Until I get the
Yeah.
additional monitor.
Ah, hey, Lynn. How's everybody doing? Rhonda. All right, so I'm putting out ultramarine blue. And Payne's gray is basically titanium white, Mars black, ultramarine blue, or my favorite version of it is often uh, titanium white, Mars black, and phthalo blue, but I think the phthalo blue will be too much for this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Just too much. I'm going to get a little white over to my black and just start to create a gray, put a little blue into it, and we're just going to begin here.
I'm gonna come over and check that.
No? John's going to be working this focus. Now, this course will go days of study like today where we just paint a lot of things. Don't worry about painting them overly well. Don't stress on each individual object. You're just needing to get through and practice understanding and seeing what you're looking at as you paint. That said, we will have days where we take those skills. Ooh, let me try the poly tip. I haven't got to try this yet. And this is the Catalyst from Princeton. It's another firm brush. And I'm going to be testing it. Ah, see, it's firm. We're just going to paint this all kind of gray. Doesn't need to be perfect. We just want a neutral kind of background. I could probably sponge the whole thing. It's just nice to sometimes do your studies on a solid background. You can do them on white too. They certainly look good in the thumbnail on white, don't they? So just everything gray, and then when that's gray, we'll dry it and begin the ball. I picked the ball first, and John's going to throw up that reference image for you guys. Now, if you want to be able to print out your references or download them, if you go to my website to the video page, I have linked the gallery where all of these are in. You may need to have an account on the website to access the gallery, but the website's free, so don't worry about that. It's a free website. So the account won't hurt you, and then that will let you access the gallery. And then from there, you should be able to download all of the references that are going to be used today. And if you're in my patronage and you would like to use any of these references for our drawing class, you can. All of these, and I'll get some more references over for you guys for the drawing class over there. I'm a little low key today. My low life today, huh? I'm not even trying to be like really particularly perfect about this gray, if you guys are noticing. It's not very, very important. This is really kind of what we would call a toned background. You could get gesso that's colored that will do this for you, and it just lets you start somewhere. With some paint on the canvas and a neutral area to begin from. Sort of interesting though, at least. Sometimes I'll do that, even on my practice backgrounds. Because you can make this background a practice moment, too. And I'm getting to learn this brush. Don't hate it. Tell you that right now. All right. Deep breath. Let's dry this with a hair dryer. John's going to come over and mute the sound so you don't have to listen to my hair dryer. And then we'll start the process of painting the bowl.
There we go. And we'll get all that. You still hear it a little bit there in the background. But we're just going to be painting everything in lightly today. Watching her do her thing. I'm kind of wondering about the studio because there's so many things to catch up on here. But I will say hello to everybody who's here today. It's nice to see everyone. Man, it's a lot of... Oh, yeah, I was just catching up there on the little chat. Some tea people. Yeah, I like the muddled gray backgrounds like this. They make for a very neutral imagery, I guess. So I've always kind of liked them. Who's here today?
I see Joe Maskey today.
He's
Joe. Hey, dude.
Oh, hey, Joe.
It's been a minute. Yeah, no, so Joe paints a bunch and is like, so I'm not artist to artist for a second if y'all are cool with that. Yeah, no, Joe, these are really cool, and they also make a fan. They make all those scrubbers and rubber tools, but this is a very firm filament, and the edge on it here, you can see I just went at it, and you can see the edge is still real good. So, and you know how I hate the ferrule thing. The ferrule is at least seated, so that's something. All right, now I'm going to, because I want to have an easy time drawing a circle, I'm going to use my tape roll. And I'm going to just draw a circle here. And I go both directions, so it's a reasonable, maybe a bigger circle than that. Shall we? Oh, we'll go that size. I can fill a bunch of stuff up in there. And I'm going to put out, I had this feeling I might want quinacridone gold today. It's not a necessary color, but it's one I really like. I'm also going to put out some burnt sienna and cad yellow, cad red, the usual suspects. Shall we? Here's my burnt sienna. Little burnt sienna there. They're not too distant, so if all you have is burnt sienna, don't worry about it. I do have cad yellow light on out to the side here, just in case I'm having trouble getting some of the finer lights, and I have my Naples yellow light. So I've got some backups on there. And I have yellow ochre. Let's put out some yellow ochre. Yellow ochre, yellow oxide. Either one. Either one. One's synthetic, one's natural. That's the difference. Don't worry about it.
So I was curious about this. So I just Googled it in my little thing. So check this out.
All right.
Scotch tape has an inside diameter of 2.9 inches.
Okay.
Isn't that neat?
That is neat.
So that little circle you made there is just shy of 3 inches.
It is. And it's going to keep me from overworking and overthinking. It'll let me get into my angle brushes. I'm going to do a lot of my work in angle brushes. I have 3/4 angle brush. I have 1/2 inch angle brushes. I'm also like experimenting with some angle brushes from Simply Simmons. They're just dirty right now. And as you saw, the Catalyst. So I'm looking at different angle brushes to get into. This one and this one are kind of in that same range. You can see the difference in the cut of the angle, but for painting, it's not too big of a deal. All right. So we've got our reference up here. You can print out your reference. And what we're going to do is we're going to just paint what we see. This is what the study is. You look at it and you go, how do I paint that? And you do your best to paint what you represent there. You don't want to spend 5 hours on one object. You're trying to get a sense of things like, how do the reflections work? How does the light work on the metal? I'm going to take some cad red over to my burnt sienna. and add some of my cad yellow to it. And I'm going to just kind of start over here. Not too dissimilar from what I would do when I have digital painting going on. A little bit of an orange there. I'm going to use my paper towel to rinse out when I need to. Let's get the yellow ochre, maybe a little of the cad yellow over to it. Little of the Mars black. And the gray is a nice base. Balls are always really good to paint. Lit balls. Yeah, I said it. Lit balls are always a good idea for practice and for study because they'll help you start to understand lighting.
Oh, thank you, the butcher's wife.
Oh, thank you. I'm kind of under here with a dark shadow. I'm just trying to look at what I see. I also have round blenders today. I suspect I'll be using them for metal quite a lot. It'll be a matter of getting sharp reflections and then lighter reflections. Kind of see an interesting line delineated right here. I'm going to try to represent that. Get a little white into the mix and maybe a little more yellow. Kind of see some interesting little reflections there. Add some here. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to look and paint. So I'm adding highlights where I see highlights on the ball. Oh, I so appreciate it. Oh, for your continued generosity and the smiles you put on your face. I put a smile on your face today. I'm very glad I did, actually. I'm going to get a little of my brown and black together. Yeah. I might get some of my quinacridone gold into it. You can see that really like pops it as an interesting thing. You will find often in metallic objects that there's sort of these structural shapes that you're constantly painting, like hard lines. That's another reason I like to pick an angle brush to do it, is because I can really get into those like hard lines and those things that help me get that metallic feel. I just get more into some yellow down here. And just start putting on those layers. Doesn't look like a lot for a minute. You just got to build it up. You're just here for a second.
Takes a little bit of time to study it, huh?
It does take some time to study it. You've got to find that balance. You don't want to be so locked in that you can't, get it done. I do find that there's sort of a different goal set when you're painting in study than when you're painting, for the wall. When you're painting in study, you're trying to understand the reasons the object is the way that it is. You're trying to see that and understand it deeply. I'm going to draw my object a little bit because for the next part, I don't want blending wet into wet. I'll come back with my blending brushes if I do.
All right, just let dry it a little bit.
I might size down my brushes so I have a little more control on the size of canvas. There we go. 3/8 inch. Ah. A little white into that. Little quinacridone gold. So I'll start looking for like little highlighted areas that are brighter and how we see them on the ball. Almost all bright, smooth finish balls. So in metal, you can think of things as rough finished or patinaed, or smooth finished and polished. Smooth finish and polish, you know, you're really working with what's in the room, what's around the object when the object was lit and photographed or placed in your still life, because you could be doing a really good job right now and putting objects in your still life. I don't know. You might be. I'm going to add a little more white to this right here. Maybe on the far side here, I'm going to add a little more white as I go. Just getting, you can see like real quick it starts to be metal. It's really strange. Like as you're going, you'll find that there's this turnaround. I'm going to just do my quinacridone gold and my Mars black. I just like them together. Maybe a little burnt sienna. Kind of delineate a little line there in the ball. Find this is just a bit darker through there, so I want to get that deep reflection. The deep reflections are as important as the light ones in my experience with metallic objects. So finding a way to get the depth in them, you don't want to skip that part. Lighten this with yellow, maybe instead of white. And that's another thing. As artists, sometimes we can start to think about lightening everything with like white, but sometimes we want to lighten with yellow before we try and lighten with white. And another good way to lighten a color. And then when we do the little bit of white, it'll have a bigger impact. Here. And I'm just painting the reflections that I see in the ball. That's all I'm trying to do. You're going to be listening to the barking. Shh. So Twix farts and shortcake barks. That's what we got going on here. There we go. We're just getting that reflection in the ball. Sandra's like, this is a great way. This is great. I want to try brass candlesticks. Brass candlesticks are excellent things to paint. If you can get them in really dramatic lighting where the candle's even on, that's even better. So much. So much they're barking. They're having a whole conversation. No, it's not angry conversation. It's you got my ball. Okay. All right. How do I reach you when I want to change references? 5-10 minutes, I think. And a little bit of reflection there. And you can see I'm just finding little highlights, right? That's what we're doing. We find little highlights and we then, how do we play with those? I don't know, Shortcake. How do we play with those? Sorry about the barking, guys. She just has her feelings. All right. So you can see how we're getting that there. All right. Caught watercoloring my girl with bouquet of heart balloons. All right, is that what you're up to right now, Lori? It's a quiet day, and you know, this is going to be a bit of a quiet quest. It's going to be for those of you that are just trying to tune up or tune in your art craft. This is really what this is for. This is the number one thing outside of painting every day that you can do. And honestly, this can become part of painting every day because if you think about it, you can do studies and that's part of painting every day, or you can paint paintings, which is part of painting every day. But if you kind of broaden your mind a little bit and go, oh, I can do studies as part of painting every day, you can get into that habit where you don't get the burden of having to complete a project every single day. Hi, Noletta. All right. So I added a little white so I could get to that bright yellow, because these had sort of this glowing yellow and I wanted to kind of capture that. Right here, I'm going to add a bit of a bright white there. Sometimes I find that just hitting those little highlights a bit can really help. And I'm coming around the edge. The other reason that the gray background is wonderful is because if I want to, I can paint back into the background anything I need to. I'm going to blend this little reflection down here, and that just means doing a thinner coat of paint and letting the brush work into the ball. Another thing that's great about working the ball in this way is that it's easy for me to put highlights and shadows in the ground. Because I can use both kind of a reflected color and a localized color in that space. Now, hopefully the series will work okay for everybody, because it's one I wanted to do but haven't done because the YouTube algorithm doesn't always like this kind of project. But I'm like, man, it's where we've got to go if we want to grow what we're doing. Right? It's where we've got to be if we want to grow what we're doing. Adding a bit of a little kind of moment of reflection there, and maybe here. You'll find you'll just look and you'll be like, where can I add? Where do I need to add something? You know, and then you'll start painting that in, and before you know it, it just starts to feel like what it is. Maybe a little more orange than that. Like right here, I'm noticing that there's this sort of hot and yet somewhat blended out reflection. A dry brush to get that other little value going. And then if I go right into the white, kind of blend that up in there, that little bit of reflection right there. Sherpa, would I be able to post a pic on here that I'm struggling with, or would it be best to put it on the Facebook group? So I wish that YouTube let you guys post pictures. The best place to post a picture that you're struggling with is honestly on my personal YouTube, not my personal Facebook page. The group, we have days for original art and we have days for this, and that was just because people, you know, act crazy in Facebook groups, and so we had to create structure. In the Patreon group, you can post anything, anytime like that. If you have something specifically to me, you can send it to support@theartsherpa.com with the picture, and I can help you with that. Or you can put it on my personal Facebook page tagged into me so I can see it. The only reason I want to answer is I can't see it. If you put it in Messenger, it can be lost. So you've got to put it right in my feed where I can see it. I also wouldn't mind if you're coming from the Facebook event, you put it in the Facebook event. But when you're seeing me not see those, that's all that's happened is I just haven't seen it. And as soon as I see it, I will be happy to help with it. Now underneath here, as we wind up in our gold ball, right? I'm about to be changing. You know, we'll go underneath and, you know, come right under the ball. We know that we're going to have shadow right there, right? Don't want it quite that dark on the outside edge. I'm going to get a little white and kind of blend that. In this shadow, we're going to say, based on reference, is coming forward a little bit. And that's another thing too, is that with a metallic surface, light can be reflecting from so many places that you have to really pay attention to the shadow as well. I'm going to bring this out kind of into an arced point and then blend it into the background color a little bit as I go. Right. And then back into white. This is a great way to work on that sort of like cast shadow effect. If I need to, I'll put some glazing medium in the mix so I can get a blend on it. All right, so you can see I'm just using the glazing medium, which is a very transparent medium. Oh, and again, anything you see here today you're looking for, go check the store because I probably found it and put it there. And if you don't see it there, let me know and I'll make sure it's added to one of the store playlists. They're like playlists, they're like curated little lists. And you can see I'm just creating this better shadow. So I'm getting to practice my shadows here. I'm getting to practice reflections. I'm getting to practice a lot of stuff. Now, if I want to be super tricky, I might grab a little of my quinacridone gold. And watch this. I'll put in some reflected color. That's kind of hitting the ground. And that's going to make the gold ball seem all the more. I'm just blending it in. This exact tube is in the Holbein line, the quinacridone gold AOU 20. It's quinacridone gold deep in the golden artist colors line. And I think Sennelier has one too. All right, how do you guys think of that? Look at that. We've got a little bit going there. I think I've got one more little bright orange I want to kind of put in, and I think I've got to be done with it. Like I've studied it, and it's got to, you have to have a space where you're like, okay, I'm going to finish and then be finished and then move on to the next thing. And I think the next thing we have is a balloon. I could be wrong, but I believe that's it. And if John shows back up, we're going to, oh, okay, cool. So I'm going to beg for a coffee heat up and a stir. I'm going to put a little more glazing medium out. Mist my colors so they don't.
Yeah, this time when you go to the side view, I'm going to see if I can rotate the view for them so that it's aligned with the image,
right,
so to speak. So you start drawing it in over there.
Sketch this out just a little bit.
All right. And then once we know where that's at, I'll see what kind of.
I'm just using the Dritz chalk tool just to kind of loosely sketch it in. Balloons are basically kind of a rounded tier, so you just got to figure out your scale. And your scale is really about how much balloon painting do I want to do. And then it comes down, out. And we'll try to do maybe some of the reflections in the bit of the bottom. So I think I'm going to start this balloon. Let's start with a mix of cad yellow and yellow ochre, kind of as a mid-range. And I'm going to actually go all mid-range on this balloon.
Okay.
I think I actually even want to add some black to that.
I magicked it.
Did you magic it?
I think so.
Good.
It's from the, you have the side view rotated. There you go.
Thank you. All right. A little bit of the gray in that gold. I feel like this gold has a little bit of gray in it. And that's another thing that you're going to be like, oh, this gold has a little bit of gray in it. Now I'm going to come across and definitely use my brush strokes to talk a bit about, let me see that you're still there. Sometimes I turn the table to have a better angle on my brush stroke. Hopefully you guys you do not have to, by the way, if you're doing studies at home, you do not have to be painting at my pace. That would be, your pace is your pace, my pace is my pace. They don't have to be the same pace by any means. Can you use yellow ochre if you have no other color? Yeah. Yeah, you could probably do all of this with yellow ochre and brown and black. You couldn't just use one color. You can't just use metallic. There's no, like if I just painted this balloon with a gold metallic, it would just be a very flat gold metallic painting, but it wouldn't be specifically anything, you know. This is a number 4 Raphael texture. I'm just wanting a little bit more control over the. I want to be able to thicken thin the line because that's going to help make the ribbon seem twisted. If it's thick, then it's facing us. If it's thin, then it's facing away. I'm going to dry this real quick. You dry yours at home. I'm going to mist my paint so it doesn't get dried out. And then we'll start putting the reflections on our balloon.
I'm gonna give her some walkie-talkies so she can be like, psst. This is base to base to stunt hands 1. Base to stunt hands 1. We need muting.
I'm going to come up here and add a little white into that yellow ochre mix from earlier, which was the cad yellow and the cad red and a little burnt sienna. Like a bunch of stuff has ended up over here. But we're just trying to make our off-white. And I'm going to come across the top and curve a bit of a reflection that I see there. And I feel like I'm seeing one here. And come down a little bit into this sort of gold. Get a little more yellow into it. And I really, honestly, guys, having a digital sketch pad is really worthwhile as well. Just being able to do little studies on values, just even digitally, is just as good as anything else. It's amazingly powerful. And it starts to help you go, okay, this is how this is constructed. This is how this paints. So later, when you're doing that still life, that's super important. Let me get a little bit of those colors up in here and a little black because I like it. I'm cleaning up those lines as we go. You know, later when you have to paint something, you'll be like, oh, I have a little box of skills here. And with a dark line on the outside. And it won't be where you get stuck. Honestly, if I ever felt like doing something about my absolute distrust of painting cars, what I would do is I would sit down and just 4 weeks paint cars again and again and again. At the end of that journey, I would be fine at painting cars. Why haven't I done it? Because I just can't care about cars enough. I'm taking, this was a mix of burnt sienna, the quinacridone gold, and the Mars black. I'm just taking some yellow ochre up to it. kind of capturing this little inside reflection. Still using that little angle brush. You know. You ever come back with my coffee? John? You never came back with my coffee. I'm coffeeless. You forgot my coffee. You never came back with my coffee. So the deal on today is, and the deal on study days, and we have two long study days like this. We have this day where we paint a bunch of metal things, and then next Thursday we're going to come together and paint a metal horse. And then the following Thursday we're going to paint a bunch of folded metal, and then we're gold metal, and then we're going to come back and paint lips. And on the days where we're just painting a bunch of objects and practicing our skills, you know, it's going to be much more informal. We're going to chat. I'm going to have my own chat up. John's eventually going to make it where I can switch the camera myself. Emily Floor. So I got me a digital sketch pad for Christmas. I haven't quite figured it out how to use it yet. What app software you suggest that is not only for Apple products? A lot of people love Procreate. And then also I have SketchUp that I use a lot. And then, you know, Adobe. Adobe is amazing. Adobe Illustrator and Fresco are really powerful art tools. In fact, I'm learning how to use the Adobe suite right now, so that I can do more things that even the other two aren't allowing me to do. And then if you want to know more about digital, everybody bookmark Bobby, Bobby Chew, Chui. Bobby Chew does this digitally, does study classes digitally too. So you'd be like, oh, it's not just her. No, it's not just me. Gonna add a little bit of this color here. Come across. And he has a he works almost exclusively digitally most of the time, and has the only course that I've paid for my kids, and not because it's a kids course, but because I don't want to have to correct bad teaching. And I think it's hard for moms to be teachers, even though we are all teachers. I think sometimes kids don't want to listen to mom because mom talks all day, so I like to pull in different art teachers that they're excited about. And Bobby really fit that bill, and everything over there is correct. I have never, in all my years of being on YouTube, which is many, many years now, had to correct something that was said over on Bobby Chew's channel. Ever. Cesar Cordova either. Don't ever have to correct what's said over there. And there's a group of them that I just like, they can say what they want because it's correct and I don't ever have to fix it. And also Josiah Brooks, Draw with Jaza. See, we're starting to get that nice crisp brown on the balloon reflection there. Add a little white to that because this one over here is a bit, it's an interesting duck over here. I got to get it going. Coming up the side with this, and then I'll need a dark coming back down. So I'm going to get my burnt sienna and my quinacridone gold again, and a little of my black. I'm kind of on the inside and down. You guys see that? Emily Flores like, thank you. I will check out Bobby Chew as well. Everybody check out Bobby Chew. I don't want to lose subscribers ever, but I don't mind sending you to teachers I know that might give you a new perspective. And I think digital artists sometimes can explain things from a fresh place because they're not so enmeshed in the medium, you know, traditional medium. And you know me, I think digital artists are absolutely fine artists. It's just a different medium. But again, every medium gives you a different insight to how you explain things. You explain things differently from watercolor because of the restrictions of the medium. You explain things differently from acrylic because of the restrictions of the medium. And digital is like that as well because they think about it in layers and they think about it very differently. And sometimes that process can help us traditional media artists go, oh, I get it. Thank you. Cindy stresses when I was shocked when I look at the gold ball, I did not see the shadows until you painted them. Yeah, it's weird. Like, all the time in art school, they'll say things to you like, you must learn how to see and to look, right? And they're like, look at it. And sometimes it's like your whole major instruction is like, look at it. But they don't really tell you, like, necessarily, teachers don't always break down, well, how do you look at something? This is how you look at something. This is the process by how you learn to see. You do lots of little study moments. I'm going to get a little more yellow ochre on there. And normally you don't narrate your little study moments as I am now for students, right? But this is how you learn to see is you get into your study and then through that process, like there's a little bit of a blend here. You start to see objects as they are. As they are. Or should be. Come in and darken above here a little bit. And you're like, I know what you were photographing in. I see the windows in the room now. Kind of see that I'm capturing those different little moments. See how we're getting the little metallic balloon going? Doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be perfect all the time. It's just a matter of like, what can I express well? Now I'm going to get a little bit of my glaze and this yellow ochre because I think I want to do kind of like a little glazing blend here to soften this blend and transition. See how I'm doing? I had a line that was hard, but looking at it, I kind of wanted to soften it. And I can use the glaze to soften that blend. All right, just like I could come in with a little bit of white if I wanted to, and a glaze, more glazing medium, and soften it from this side as well. Studying the balloon. A little too much there, but that's okay because I can just glaze it. And then pull that down. See that? I did that there. I want to do that kind of here. I'm going to use my glaze to get control of that paint. This is another good reason to do studies is because you're not under the pressure of a whole painting, right? And you're just focusing on a topic. You don't have to be like, man, I'm going to, what is everyone going to think? What is everyone going to do? And you can really just drill down and learn how to control your paint. Kind of adding a little bit of that there. A little bit at the top of the balloon. Got to get into my little round brush or a little detail brush. Oh, monogram liner. There you are. You are my friend. And much the same thing, you know. I'm gonna work on the ribbon. I am good. How are you doing? I'm gonna be not too much longer on this one. Another maybe 10 minutes. Maybe my phone's charging upstairs. It should be charged enough where I could like call you. Okay. There we go. Kind of darkening that backside. Maybe we can get a little bit more exaggerated. Where I'm trying to really play that bottom of the tide balloon, as you do. Maybe get a little glazing medium there. I've added the white into my yellow mixture over here, just trying to create a Again, I'll definitely use the glazing medium. The glazing medium also helps thin the paint and extend the paint. A little bit of a reflection there and on the balloon and in the knot. You play with the stuff. Yeah, I'm on live, baby. I'm on live. Yeah, but it's a long live, and so we're not being like don't fight with your sister, but we're just live. We're doing steady day. Oh, okay. I would love to hear what that is. I'm gonna bring a little bit of my dark and I'm just trying to get that. Keep those colors that are up there down here. A little bit of a highlight in the ribbon. And for the ribbon, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to come through and put some highlights in, and then I think I'll come through and add some midtones and some shadows. So let's say that there's a highlight here. And then across there, like that. Okay, there we go. Just get some nice. You thought my painting was the reference image? That's awesome. Thank you. Eh. Doing some realistic balloons. Now you know you are winning when your kid comes by and is like, "Whoa! I thought it was the that like just makes me feel real good." And go get some of the little ribbon going. Little of that quinacridone gold and black. A little bit of a shadow there. So this is really good, not just for the balloon itself, but also like this having to work out the string and talking about the string, you know, and its reflections has been, I think, really good as well. Some yellow in there. I'm just trying to find like where I want to put that with those moments, those metallic moments. I think this is a pretty good color set for painting metallics. I do now personally, even though it's not in the reference, I might be tempted to add some little pops of highlights that are maybe a little more like that, just to exaggerate that a bit. Joe's talking about limiting color to improve. See, it's hard, it's hard to limit your palette. He's super right. It is good for you though when you're trying to work out value. That's why we're doing drawing and patrons, is it helps everybody work on their value. I think I have resolved as much of the balloon as I'm going to do. What am I painting next? Ooh, a gold leaf. A gold leaf. It's a leaf that is gold. We painted a balloon and a ball, and now we're going to paint a leaf. Shelly Howe. Hello, everyone. I'm getting in late. Did I miss all the good stuff? No, we're still going. We're still practicing, and it's on replay. I'll go over my paint palette again. CAD red medium, CAD yellow medium, burnt sienna. This is quinacridone gold, and it's just really nice on these metallics. Mars black. I put in ultramarine blue here to make a Payne's gray for the background. Titanium white and yellow ochre, and I have glazing medium that I'm using today. So, if you're coming here on the catch up, and we'll try to timestamp these so that you can chapter and be like, oh, I want to see the balloon again, or if you want to come back and I always plug these up, and you want to see any of these again, it will be
Where are you
sealed back
thinking
up.
you're gonna be there?
I think I've got room here, and then I got to get a new canvas.
That's what I thought.
Unless I wanted to do a chain all over this canvas, which I could do, but I'm not up for today. Practice. We're just practicing. Just practicing. And these specific colors, will be in the description and probably kind of what we'll be using going forward if you want to do this course for the gold metals, the warm metals. We may get into some blues and interesting mixes going into cool metals when we get there. And of course, there's brasses, and all of them have their different sort of reflections and way that they go. And like, if we decide to do any sort of copper patina or anything in our practice, but let's just say that we're gonna walk out of this able to paint anything shiny we feel like. You need to paint a chrome bumper, you're gonna paint a chrome bumper. Are we on the new leaf, sweetheart? Hi, Spider. Did Dad leave? Did he? Well, that was sweet. Thank you for being here to help me. Oh, nothing. I'm going to just draw my basic shape of my leaf. Again, just using the Dritz chalk tool. Check out the Amazon store if you need to find one. But you don't have to. Not required in any way. All right. So I see there's a little bit of fold in the leaf, and then it's kind of tucked there. So we'll see how that goes. I'll get into like a bigger kind of a thing. So this is an interesting gold. Definitely an interesting kind of gold color. I'm going to get into my, add a little cad yellow here and a little cad red. I put in some burnt sienna, and I'm adding some black. There we go. And I'm going to do this dark value, I think, first. Kind of paint it in a little bit. So this is fun because now we're studying a leaf and a gold, and we're seeing how an artist like Soriyama might have taken people and painted them as robots. How did he do that? This is how he did that. He studied metal and many, many objects. And then when it was time to work with the models, he had kind of an idea beyond just like spray painting them about what the lighting and everything would look like because he understood it. And we have to learn to understand things as artists. That's a really important job. Even as beginners, we can start to come in and be like, how can I understand this better as an artist? There we go. That doesn't look bad. I will dry that. Let's dry that and paint a leaf.
All right, just making sure that she's all framed in here nice too while I'm here. Spider's hanging out here. I may let him push the buttons. Let's see how she says.
Hmm?
Me.
Okay. Did you guys manage to mute the...
I did, Dare.
Okay.
I'm going to show Spider how to mute. You okay with him listening in?
I'm okay with him listening in, and if everyone's okay, I don't mind him even talking.
All right, well, I'll let him chat with you. So, okay. This is Mom's mute.
This is Mom's mute. What kid everywhere? Mom's mute.
That's,
Did I do
so
one more
it
heat
won't
up on my
change.
coffee?
Yeah, I'll put here.
Mom's mute. Oh, that's a special time. I'm going to get into this sort of like...
Yeah, you have to get used to that.
making a nice little dark gray over here, and you just start coming in and painting what you got. A little darkness there. I expect this one to be a challenge because there's just so many planes reflecting light that, unlike the ball and the balloon, which really had very limited light reflection, I kind of expect this to be a bit of a challenge. I'm getting a little brown here because I know I've got little reflections coming up. And I think it's just sometimes just about, you know, playing with what you have. How do I know when my mom is muted? I'm going to add some highlights there, just starting to think about the shape of the leaf. Is it very hot? That's wonderful. All right, how are we all doing? Okay, how are we all doing? We can look overhead. Again, if you guys are looking for the references to practice these skills, that is on the website. It's free to make an account. I think you have to have an account to view galleries, but you're welcome to go to the gallery and download these and have these for your own references. If you're in the patron group, feel free to use these references not only for the metal drawing, but to practice our drawing for a drawing class. If you're really struggling here, backing this out into a pencil and just doing black and white can really help you see it. Because in the end, you know, we're only ever just painting hue, value, and form, right? It's the line, it's the hue, that's the color it is, and it's the value, how light or dark it is. So it's all flat. The illusion of it being anything besides flat really just comes from us learning how to see what we've got. Yes. So what you'll find on canvas paper is that sometimes it's thirsty, and you may want to prep the paper so that it's not absorbing So much acrylic. You can do a whole thing where you do an isolation coat with GAC 100 and a couple coats of gesso. But you can also just paint the paper with like 3 coats of the gray, and then it will hold and let you blend and do the rest of the stuff on the surface. And it's the only thing with paper is it's just thirsty. Mm. Ah. Lily says, "Mom, my kid. I bet all my kids wouldn't mind having a mute button for mom at times. Way to go, Spider. Way to go to my community for knowing how to spell Spider's name. I know. And they know how to spell your name. Sometimes I spell his name wrong. Mm. Spider just had a birthday. Spider just turned 12. Pretty exciting times. Was for us. I don't know if it was exciting for Spider, but it was for us. Are ya? You liking it? Yeah. I am good. You're so nice. Like you so much. Just come in. And I expect the leaf to be a bit of a work for me. And come in with a little bit of black and gray that I see there. Come on the edge. So this is definitely going to make me look at several planes. Take a little bit of a light value. And don't get frustrated with yourself if you're trying this at home. If you've never sat and just spent a day studying a subject in art, don't get frustrated with yourself. That is, it is literally about the learning process. It is not about the perfect process. If it was about the perfect process, you wouldn't need to study. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Right? You wouldn't need to study if it was just about being perfect. I'm going to kind of just put some highlights out here. Even though I know I'm going to need to define them with some other sort of low lights. That gold that's a little bit gray, right? So golds come in a bright yellow, and they come in kind of a warm orange, and they come in that cool gray. That's why we're even just studying one type of metal. Because you can kind of get one down, and then you're like, later, you're like, wait, what happened? And it's like really a thing to try to figure out how to get it there. I love Spider as my co-host. Are you dadding? Thank you for dadding. Look at that go. Deborah says, thank you, Cinnamon and John and Mods and family for all you do. And Lynn's like, oh no, a preteen, good luck. Spider has just historically been my mellow kid. My eldest and my youngest daughter, they definitely are a little more up here. We definitely fire and ice, yes. It's an experience, I'll tell you that. Spider has the simple needs. Like he for his birthday, what he wanted was vacuum cleaners. I'm not kidding. Dude, he got to, because his hey gal Ginger got him, and she sent him vacuum, and then I got the other vacuum, and then he got vintage computers, like all broken, so he could rebuild them. Just it's a weird. Every kid has their own flavor. And get a little of my glazing medium, which is spread out here. See these weird little reflections around the vein, and I'm sort of interested in how I'm going to capture that and then get the little bit of dark in there. If I get this leaf, man, I'm going to call me the winner today. And if I don't, then guess what I'll be doing all week? Digitally painting leaves that are gold. That's what you do. If you can't get it, you just don't stop until you get it. Now, what's my goal for this personally as your art teacher online? I realized like if I was going to do a simple lesson, for me to do something simple where it's like 10 minutes and I explain it to you in simple, simple steps, I have to know it inside and out. And I get asked a lot about how to paint reflections. And I was like, you know what I need to do? I need to do this so much that I can make a video that explains it in like a few minutes so that a beginner can duplicate it. That's how we get here. Now you're just seeing how the bread is made. I'm not going to say sausages because I love living things and I don't want to make them be sausages. There we go. I love seeing the leaf kind of come to life. I'm just going through the highlights and the trying to get those little moments. Look at those little moments come in. My nephew loves Hoovers, says Heather Jacobs. Are they? Jerry says that she has a grandson like that. He works on computers all the time. No doubt the field he will go into when he gets grown. I wish that for all of our kids. They just get to go have the lives that they have a right to have, um, and go be themselves in the world. I wish that for them. While I'm doing trying to vein in. Veining is weirdly challenging for me. Generally, it's because I just my brain just goes some weird places with it. Oh, when I get to veining, I have to really kind of. Okay, me starting to get it in there. Get them veins in. Get another one in there. Just working those veins in. Pretty sure the veins will really come together when we have the highlights on them. Painting the leaf is going to be, it's going to be the thing. I'm going to sip my coffee. Teach, Em, teach. Oh, I missed a lot. I'll be watching again after. It looks great. Well, I mean, in my ideal world, guys, what you would do with this is you would put me on, get your paints out, get your references out, paint. Just look up at me for guidance while you find your way through. Does that make sense? Like in these study courses, get your references, get your stuff, be all ready, be working on it, listen to me in the background like I'm a weird art podcast. And then look up if you're like, how did we do that? How do we get there? If you want to see a color mix that's happening, look up and have me as like kind of that sort of reference for these. I think that's what I would hope to do. I'm getting that kind of gray gold. I'm going to thin this out a bit. So you can kind of gold it up some. This one, again, more challenging for me than the others. And that's why I like to have study days. You just normally, sometimes if you're in the patron group, I'll drop a digital thing that I've been working on with everybody and be like, hey, you should do this too. try to get through the teapot today. And then in your gallery on the website, you even have extra challenge pieces. So, you know, if you've got something that you want to do and keep working on it, or you just need some extra references, I should have those there for you. I'm folding that leaf up. All right. Folding that leaf up. Folding the leaf. Now, if I tried to just use gold metallic paint, this would just be a tear shape that was like a gold leaf, but it wouldn't feel like a balloon. I could put down gold leaf like that and then paint reflections on top of it and get a really cool effect. But then I wouldn't really be learning as much as I am right now in the study process. I think what it does is it is a little bit slippery as a medium, but I think if you just put down a little dot of gold leaf and then hit some highlights and different reflections and let some of the gold leaf show through, it would be a cool look. I've seen people do it. But again, I think that that's a good thing to do after you're sure that you've got a good handle. I like that right there. That you've got a good handle on what you're doing. So this was quinacridone gold, and I got a little Mars black and a little yellow ochre and titanium white. I'm going to try to put a little bit of a reflection up here. Leaf harder. We're going to do cool metals. So we're going to do brass and copper metals as one segment. We're going to do cool metals. Those are the silvers, the platinums, the deep cool patinas. We're going to kind of break them up into segments because I think that will give us the best chance of being able to take away the core skill set. You know, it's about trying to find what it is, and there we go. I'll have to highlight that, pull that there. Get a little bit of my dark brown color. I'm changing the roll on the leaf a little bit. Just so that it's a little tighter and we see a little more of that way the leaf is rolled. All right. So, you know, but that's a good question. Will we do silver also? Yeah, because they're different. They are super different. I'm definitely loving the glazing medium. I thought I was going to have to use my blending brushes to get through here. Not at all. That's not even been a problem. It's a leaf that an artist dried and dipped in 24 karat gold. Well, you know, very thin. It's electroplated. My mom used to do that with aspen leaves when I was a kid growing up. Trying to get the little kind of arc going up, and then if I have to go back into the thing to get the little. Just trying to capture the way that the veining happens on the leaf. And again, this is that rare opportunity where you get to study leaf itself and gold and leaf. And so that's always really, really nice. I'll put a little more water out. My paint is responding slowly. The website is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are working on it. So there's a little burnt sienna out here, and I'm just getting my yellow and my cat red in here. You see, that gives me quite a warm little reflection that I can then play with. Get it there. And there's a little bit here. Again, this one really helps me study lots and lots and lots of planes. I'm going to get over to my darker color. And texture and how it wants to show on that leaf. So it's a little harder to get there. Much harder. Like I might have put the leaf like last. Fully present to how challenging it was going to want to be. It's pretty shiny, but I'm still trying to get like the different little areas and values and things that I've got to kind of work out. On this one, shiny, I think the first one that I have that's not shiny is the Pear. That's more of a Patina. A little glazing medium in there to improve that. And to capture those little moments. And it's a fussy bit of kit to study. But I'll tell you what, I way prefer this to math. If all my schoolwork had been this type of study, I probably would have had a better time with it. That Quin Nickel Osmo Gold is awesome. Yes, it is. I'll show it again. It's quinacridone gold in the golden artist colors, which I think I do have on the Amazon store, is quinacridone gold deep. It's the same as what I use in my watercolor palette. Look at us go, just studying. Look at us study. Aren't we studious? You'd be like, what are you doing today? I'm studying my craft.
So you think we're going to move on to another surface today?
You know, man, I'm not sure. We may be just winding up here because this was a lot.
This was a lot.
We have a teapot and everything there, so we might. Teapot. I don't like the thumbnail to be clickbait.
It will be to be continued.
Well, it certainly could be. About getting those reflections in, isn't it? Further gold leaf study is needed.
More leaves.
Well, it's just this is again because of the many planes on the surface, right? There's lots of areas to be up and reflected, and then you know how you get it where it feels like it's reflected metal. That's not some small feat.
It's a study.
It is we're studying. Our
So
craft.
you say.
So I say, said it, said it, so many times. I'm getting there now, though. We're making some headway now. Making some headway now. Getting those values in there. At this point, teapot would be easy. But that's the point of this, guys, is that you should run into stuff where you're like, man, I am feeling the work of this.
Lily's got a good question here. It says, is this an even lighter touch on canvas as anything normally? So your talk about how your brush pressure.
My brush pressure is sort of light. I am moving the brush around a lot more than usual, and some of that is because I'm working through not being completely assured taking my yellow ochre to my dark mix. And so sometimes when we've got that going on, right, we tend to make shorter, more, I would say tentative, but like softer little brush strokes that are going on. And so, no, my pressure isn't particularly firm, and I'm doing dry brushing and glazing a lot of places.
Could you get the same effect from metallic paints?
No.
It just gives you an even metallic sheen.
It's just an even metallic sheen, yeah.
So it looks like someone just sort of gave it a matte sheen finish. It doesn't have any of those.
Any of the values. It won't look like it's metal. It'll look like
metallic.
It'll look like gold leaf.
Eh.
Or metal leaf.
Eh.
I mean, that's wonderful if you want it. It's a bit of a problem if you don't want that type of finish on there.
It's hard to get something that comes from a tube or a bottle to mimic another thing.
Oh, no, it looks like they've got some good liquids that look like leaf now.
Yeah.
You have to, it's very specific companies, and
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like,
not everybody can do it.
That's a specific skill. And so that's why we're doing these studies, is that it's,
What's what you've got to do?
Yeah. There's not really a shortcut to making metal look like metal.
I wish there was. Right now I'm super
Electroplating is probably the fastest way.
Well, this leaf was probably electroplated to be made. Because it's not like they grow gold metal leaves.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I've got that nice big copper plate. It'd be fun to electroplate some stuff.
I'll have to glaze that back, but getting there. So putting those high reflections on is definitely part of what you do. Part of what you do. And I get some of my lighter gold, and I'm gonna lighten this up a bit over here.
A bit?
Yeah, it needs to be a little lighter. Just overall, and sometimes I'll do that. I'll like glaze it back and be like, I feel like you need to be a little lighter. You're taking yourself too seriously. And you're pulling that into a lighter area. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this one. I think what I'll be doing is you'll be seeing a lot of digital sketches of leaves later on.
Don't leave us
I think I need to move on
hanging
because you
by a
don't. Here's the
balloon.
other thing about practice and studies. You don't want to spend so much time on any topic that you don't get the point. So, like, if there's an area where, like, oh, that could be different or that could be better, then what you want to do is you want to move on. Move on.
Keep on.
Keep it on. Keep on keeping on. All right. Get another surface. Need one that's not saran wrapped. This one is saran wrapped. That's fine. I will cut it open with my artist knife.
You're continuing to the next 3.
Yeah, I need to.
You need to
It's
do the
study.
study.
Study is hard.
Study time is study time. I will load the next in the queue.
No, yeah, we gotta load the next in the queue.
Mer.
I will borrow the tape from the back of this. Reuse my tape for my sticky
Dog thief.
dog thief.
Don't take my shoes, dog thief. Oh man, shortcake is just.
And we'll go gray the background again because I think, what program do I use for digital art? I use SketchUp and Illustrator. And Pixelmator too sometimes. The stuff in the group tends to be SketchUp because I just have a better handle on making iMovies with it. I'm just toning the canvas with a color because I just want it to not be on a white background. What do I have next? Pear! Throw up my pear. Oh, look, it has a little silver medal on here, so bonus. I'll be like so over metal by the end of this.
I almost knocked my tooth out.
Did you?
The dog's bite my foot. And I went to swing my headset back on. And it smacked my tooth because I was smiling so big.
I think next time I'll just prep the surfaces ahead of time in the class. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. You know, what I really, really hope is that you guys get into yours, and what I'm hearing is like, oh, that was a breakthrough for me. I finally understand another way that I can get better at something where I feel stuck in art, how I don't ever have to be stuck. This trick here is how you never have to be stuck. Even if it's terrible today, if you just do a little bit every day and you work on the skill every day, eventually you will be better. Save your work. Don't throw it out. Because it's awesome to see how, like, you grow, how you get better as you go. That's a very important thing. And if sometimes the only thing that keeps you going as an artist when the subject, maybe you're studying a subject that you're not as fond of as other subjects. I'm gonna just give this some just indiscriminate little values.
The muddled background.
Yeah, just trying to have it be. Even though it's steady, there's no reason not to have a background we are sort of happy with. All right, I'm going to dry that and change my water. All right. Ronnie says, thank you for this wonderful study. And again, I hope you guys will put your stuff out, put me on like a podcast and paint with me. That's really the goal.
Yep. We're just painting along here together. I'm going to see if I can shrink that one down a little bit. And have a little paint a long time. Now, these references are available on our website, so you can go out there to theartsherpa.com and find it. That's where all our stuff is hidden from you at that easy to remember www. See, we're still in the www land. We never moved on to Web 2.0. We just used www. So, I'm just kidding. You can go to theartsherpa.com and you'll find us there too. So
it's another leaf. Gonna Come here and just sort of pair up. And it's got a stick up here. And a leaf off that. And then that is our shadow. Yay, us. Aren't we lucky? What's nice about this is I can kind of come in with a little of my black and burnt sienna to start the pear because it has this wonderful like base patina before adding the other lighter values. That's going to be nice.
Well, I mean, he asked for a half calf.
Yeah, I'm making horchata. Yes, I am. Yep. If Dad gets out and gets milk. Well, I might try to make it with the soy milk. See if that works. We have so much extra soy milk in. I'm just getting kind of a base color on here. And I'm going to add a little more blue into my Payne's Gray just so that this will show a bit on the background. And a little bit of a stick up. So we've got that there. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to get a little of my red and Quinn Gold over into this mix over here. And then I can always get my yellow ochre into it. And we're going to start to capture the values and lights on the pear. Pears, real pears, metal pears, any pears are always a good lesson. I don't think so. Not like, I mean, I might have like done studies of one. I'm going to come here and kind of, there we go. Sort of like muted area down here weirdly. This one's a little more like the balloon, so I'm kind of excited about it. I'm coming in a little white where I want to add, kind of create some value changes. You know, we have this sort of middle ground reflection on the pear at the bottom to the top. Maybe we'll lighten with some orange this time. And this is just me kind of working through it. Working through that pear. And to give myself a good resonance on value, I'm going to take a little of my gray and I'm going to actually lighten the area around the pear. Not to a full white, but I want it to be lighter so that the pear has nice contrast and I can see it well. Because it won't show up great over a dark background. Okay, guys, so we're doing all right. We're lightening it up. That's something to also think about. Like if you're looking at something and you're like, and it's not really showing for me. Really think about the value of the subject object and the background. If they're too close in value, when you take it out to a grayscale, it will all look camouflaged. And you want objects to have nice contrast and stand out from each other. I'm just grabbing whatever. Yeah. Like brightening it up, and I'll go ahead and I had some color on my brush that's coming in on the background. That's not particularly bad. I'm not worrying about it. All right, got a little excited with my leaf there. It's a little more jauntier than I need. Hey, congratulations for being an Emoji Club member for like 13 months. That's awesome. All right, so I'm going to come in here and get a little shadow going. All right, I'm going to come here and run a little bit of shadow there. Under that leaf. I like that shadow. I definitely want to keep that. Add a little red till I find my little color here. There we go. And on this one, you can kind of be rough and dry brush a bit because the patina is not shiny. It's patina is the finish of the metal or the object. It's the way it is weathered and aged. And this way we can really 150 people are studying art today. That's kind of exciting. That's pretty awesome. I really wasn't sure how we were going to do with that because I was like, how much do people want to know how to do this? I'm like, but I got to work on it if I'm going to do that one lesson. So I had to work on it. I thought we might work on it together. Let me continue to put a little bit of let's add some yellow into this. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, we're dry brushing right now. So there'll be some dry brushing. There'll be some glazing. And we're going to definitely I'm going to pull my skills out to get this done the way I want to do it. I picked things that I felt would be challenging, that would require me to stretch myself a little bit. Because that's how we grow. And we're trying to grow. Growing all the way, that's right. You got to grow. I would love them to paint along with me. I'd love them to pull the references and to put me on and listen to like the little tips and lessons. But really, this is most valuable if everybody does it themselves, right? Because you know how like Your teacher can explain stuff, but until you do the work, you don't really know it. Just like that. And you wanna have it where you can, kind of see it and do the work. So hopefully, not dissimilar at all. Definitely in that same kind of skill range, isn't it? Very similar. It's just helping us kind of look at planes and surfaces and highlights and how those are done. And we wanna be in on that. I imagine that this pear is probably put into one of those white boxes that lights all the way around. It doesn't look like it has an underlight and has one direct light on it. Looks like. Now I've got to deal with the leaf. Oh my gosh, no more leaves. But there was one, so we're gonna deal with it. Um, well, it's if you I don't know if you can see. There's a reference that we're painting from, sweetheart. Yeah. So I'm gonna just do what's in the reference and work on my skills. Give myself those challenges. That's all you can do. Just starting to think about it. They do. They do. You haven't been here when like Twix has like started to fart under the table and I can't breathe. Sounds like she's bothering her more than watching her. I'm just adding those shadows. I'm working those blue grays. Getting into those. I'm going to let my gray mix into my warmer colors, kind of create some. It's still blue gray, but it's got kind of the warmth of the pear in it. And that's about, the objects reflecting. And my table's going to get bombed, so blocks are underneath my table now. I'm going to add a little bit of white. Few places where the metal is maybe catching some light. Especially on the edge of that little leaf there. A stupid bee. All bees are smart. What advice do you give me to make waves of the sea? So, if you're really interested in painting water, last year we did a challenge called Acrylic April, and it was literally about water and landscape. Many of those were about waves, and then I also have do's and don'ts of painting a wave, just to give you some basic wave construction, like if that's been there. And I have a lot of wonderful 3 hoot wave classes, but I might consider doing the acrylic April one myself. All right, I'm going to get into my gold. I'm going to say it feels like more in that orange range. And I'm going to just try to, put this out roughly. And it's interesting to create this metal effect because it's actually in several stages. It's not one color. I may even have to glaze to get a real handle on it. Creating kind of a broken, trying to replicate what I see on the pear of this broken finish. I hear Shortcake running away. I'm going to try to do the tea kettle. I'm tired, but I'm going to try to do the tea kettle because I put it in the thumbnail. You know what I mean? And it's steady. It's steady. Study is not fast, guys. Study takes a minute. So, like, if later you see a video on like how whatever beginner needs to know about painting metal, you'll know where that information came from. See, I do this hard work, so you don't have to. But I do think you should do this hard work. I really do. Now I'm gonna wipe my brush, and I may have to do the tea kettle as like a digital challenge because it's like getting so late in the day. I'm gonna get this right here. Supposed to be writing a bio about myself for a little article. I never know what to say about myself. I've written artist statements and everything for a long time, and I just never know. You see, I'm just going into a brighter yellow. It's not bad. It's not bad. Now we're gonna also, interestingly enough, I'm gonna take a little of my quinacridone gold and black. I think these two are gonna nail the color I'm looking for. We'll see. And see how like the dark where the shadow is. Sometimes metals don't look bright. They're very dark. Thank you. Oh, Carol Moore says you're as good as Van Gogh. That is quite a compliment. That is like pretty much the ultimate compliment. I'll take it. I'll take those kind of compliments. Continue to add like this dark kind of gold leaf. I know what's happening over here. Pretty good. Not bad. Got a little bit of that pear, don't we? So yeah, I'm not disliking it. I gotta get these little reflections happening here. They're a little more challenging, as always. Those little pops of light, right? Oh no, you it's okay. Just because you're co-hosting doesn't mean you have to talk all the time. Your dad sometimes does like just because I get quiet and he doesn't want everyone to be like super bored and click away and unsub, but um some bright reflections going. Don't you love the warmth of that reflection? That's just really working for me. Like it. I'm gonna. It's not there, but I'm gonna help the stem feel a little bit metal. So I'm gonna add some of that there. Because that sometimes is what helps it feel like it is. Capturing those little values. Isn't that fun? Fissy little bits. This is a fissy little bit of kit. All right. Look at that there. That's what we do. That's what we do. Now, I'm going to put a little shadow down. And let's start here. And we know that kind of comes around out here. A little bit out here. I'll glaze that in. I love glaze as an art tool because it allows me to capture a whole bunch of things. Like if I wanted to, say, glaze a shadow coming up, look how easy that is. I don't lose all the work that I've done, but I can anchor things a little bit better. Put that shadow down a little deeper under the object. Right, and let it blend out. You know, into its little diffuse space. That does happen from time to time. I could have done it. I don't know if the original Pear has the face or I have the face, but it does happen from time to time. We see little bits of shapes and things in our objects. All right, kind of okay. You know, we do need a lighter gray going across. Because if you'll notice, a bit of a lighter shadow against that shadow. So sometimes we don't think about painting shadows in a similar way that we paint other things. You know, but we have these shadows and they can be painted in a way. And I'm going to take my, a little bit of my, and let that reflect out there as well. Help that shadow have its little moment. You see how there's reflected light? Oh my goodness, who's ready to paint a metal horse now? Yeah, that's our test next week is our metal horse. So, time is it? Oh, all right. Well, look at us go. We are kind of at our pumpkin time. So I think what I might suggest is that we little glazes there of little colors and things. Um, just, this is what happens is I get to painting and then I get to painting and I can't not paint. And I really like that patina. It makes me super happy. Right? So the gallery plus extra practice ones are on the website. They're free to download to use for practicing your art. I'm not giving you rights for distributing the images or anything because I don't have those to extend, but I have rights to give you to study the art. And so that I'm extending to you so you can download them for the purposes of painting and practicing these skills. And I think that these skills do practice. If you practice the references and you want to post them in the Art Sherpa official group, you can. Those practice references. If you're practicing other metal things that aren't in the references, come by the Big Art Quest because this is part of the Big Art Quest. And I know you guys can do work that's different. Or if you are doing so that's not in the references, you can also in the patron group. But if you're posting in the Art Sherpa official group, the big group, references or today's tutorials, share in there. And then if, as questioned earlier, if you have a question about a specific painting or something that you're working on, maybe isn't a tutorial, I have a personal Facebook page, tag me in. If I see it, I will answer. The only reason I'm not answering is if I don't see it. Or support at theartsherpa.com. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just a little worn out. If that's okay, I'm like a little, but we'll keep working on this. I will do the digital of the pot and you can see me do that. I'll do a time lapse and post it in the Art Sherpa official group. And show you how I construct that there. And we're just going to keep going. We're going to do a horse next Thursday, metal horse. It'll be fun. Kind of like this, but a little more detail. We're going to get into a little deeper because now we have an understanding and we kind of know what our palette is. Like that's sort of the question. What colors do we want to use? Well, now we know what colors we're going to want to have. And my palette paper is drying out today. What colors we're going to want to have. Do you want to get Spider, Dad, so Dad can shut it down? Okay. So I'm going to thank Spider for co-hosting with me today. He was really sweet. I think I'm going to do these study classes for a bit because I think they're good for me and I think they're good for you. I think they're what we need to grow skills. They certainly are helpful to me as a teacher when I stop and think about how is this made? How is this made? So that when I give tips or direct or succinct advice, it comes from a deeper well of knowledge. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I want to see you at an easy